Hello. I really want to get this video right because it is probably one of the most important pathways to us finding our liberation and healing. Healing and purifying all that we carry and have carried through generations and through our lifetimes. So, today we're talking about personal responsibility. And this is a part two. So part one, if you haven't caught that, there's a short video about where we place our attention following the slipstream of personal responsibility. So in this video, we're going to be exploring and talking about our emotions and our responses and our reactions, and how can we have the awareness to begin with to take personal responsibility for our feelings, our responses, as opposed to those subconscious reactions and triggers. So, where to begin? Let's think of a scenario whereby in your everyday life something has happened, be it one of your children, your partner, a work colleague, a friend, where somebody has elicited a feeling or an emotional response in you. So we'll refer to this as the trigger. So when we are triggered, we're not taught this in school. I really wish we were. We get into an unconscious pattern and program very often of blame, of sometimes we'll absorb and we'll just take it in like there's something wrong with us, it's our fault. This is based upon our beliefs about ourselves, our, what have I done wrong? I've upset them. These are programs and stories relating to our own sense of self-worth and self-esteem, or the belief that we're not okay, or that we're flawed, or that we have character flaws, or that we're damaged, or that we're broken. Some of these stories will lead us to taking responsibility for everything and everything, anything and everything, and just holding on to the I'm not okay. Another kind of thing we need to just bring in and have a look at is this victimhood consciousness. So things happen to us. External events have happened. Maybe some things happened in childhood, whether there was just a difficult relationship or blame or trauma or abuse. When things have happened to us, we can take on a victimhood consciousness, whereby we feel that it is, this stuff happens to us, life happens to us. Again, beliefs around life being unfair, people are unkind, I can't trust people, I can't trust myself, I don't feel safe in the world. So we can have and acquire these beliefs through our childhood programming, through our experiences, and just these are like the decisions that we make. So when an event happens, beliefs are largely imprinted in our first 7 years, or when we have a trauma. So when something happens, an event happens, an experience happens, we may feel hurt, upset. Things get imprinted, particularly if we don't get a resolution. We can't make sense of things. And so we make decisions about ourselves, especially as a child, because we haven't developed a massive sense of understanding of the world, of empathy, of another person's perspective. So if mummy's being cross and shouting all the time, we will often think that that's about us, as opposed to mummy being stressed or busy or having her own processes and things to deal with. So we just don't have that higher perspective as a child. As I speak that, there are children coming in now that do. They have got this innate wisdom. They can see bigger picture. The beautiful starseed children. I have one of them, incredibly emotionally intelligent and astute and processing energetically already. He's just turned 7, but some of the things that he's come out with and said in his lifetime are just, some very special souls as children on earth now. But so for the likes of me, our age, we were born into a different frequency. We were born into more programming patterns. We're all here to collect the ancestral programs, to clear the ancestral patterns, and to heal some of the traumas that we've experienced through the collective human experience just throughout our lifetimes. So let's bring this back onto point. So I'm explaining the reasons why we may react, why these programs and patterns get triggered, why they get set up in the first place, and then why they get triggered. So a response may be a rejection, for example, in the workplace or with a partner, or we don't feel listened to, or whatever that may be, elicits these old patterns and these old programs from childhood. So these are, if we take personal responsibility for these, then we can take personal responsibility for our reaction to an external trigger or event. And this is key. So when we start to do that, when we start to go, okay, this is my feeling, something's happened. If we don't place judgment on that, we don't go into blame, oughts, shoulds, rights, wrongs, polarity, separation, we bring it back to self and look at, okay, what's this bringing up in me? So if this is the external playing field, and this is the gift through which we get to transform our being and embody more of our higher self and wisdom and live and be and create heaven on Mother Earth, then we are here to shift the density, and we're here to shift the old patterns and the old programs. So the first thing we need to do is take that personal responsibility that goes, okay, what am I feeling now? And when we start to do that, we start to feel into self-reflection, inner listening, inner nurturing. This is self-love, to go, how am I feeling? What's been brought up in me? And then the empowering thing is, what can I do with that? How do I love myself enough, care for myself enough, nurture myself enough to address my inner hurts and wounds and triggers, so that I can process through, move through my emotions and feelings, which is just a cascade of hormones and neuropeptides that surfaces in the body that tends to have an associated expression, behavior, response. So if we pull that in, then can we start to feel, allow ourselves to feel, allow ourselves to have emotion, to do hurt, to do upset, to do anger in a way that isn't destructive, pushing it back into the external. So we tend to project. We tend to have this response where we feel hurt, and so we blame and we push back this hurt onto others. So you've hurt me, you said that, you've made me feel this way, this way, this way. So in that, we are giving our power away constantly. You've made me feel, okay? So if we can change that slightly, so this is a bit of a mindset shift, but it's also extremely liberating. So bear with me. If you can take that feeling and just change it slightly, so your behavior that I'm not judging, that I'm just noticing and bearing witness to, brought up these triggers in me, brought up these feelings in me. So I'm going to take my feelings away, and I'm just going to go and process that and deal with that now. If I need to come back and say, okay, this is a boundary, this is not okay for you to speak to me in this way, or to place those projections or judgments upon me, or actually, I think we've got a misunderstanding. Can we talk this through? That's fine. But that is coming from a reflective, responsive place, as opposed to a reactive, pushing it out and not owning our own personal triggers and understanding where they've come from or why we are reacting in such a way. So for clarity. When we take personal responsibility, we own our feelings. So our emotions are there. I should have found the emotion card in the card deck, but our emotions are there. It's going to pop out. Yeah. As information to guide us. I'm just going to read this about emotions. So this is, our emotion card. It's safe for me to feel emotion. So if we can take resistance away to feeling emotion, then we allow the energy and the emotion to move through us. And emotion does. Emotion, energy in motion. It wants to be in motion. It's where we block it, we resist it, we deny it, or we just don't take responsibility for how we feel. The energy just gets battered about. And if it's a destructive, hurtful energy, there's just pain creating more pain. So we want to move away from that cycle. So we have to sometimes be the bigger person to go, okay, let me own my feelings. Let me go process this and see what's going on. So we need to feel safe with having emotion and perhaps create a safe space around that, whether that's sitting with a diary, lighting a candle, putting some nice relaxing music on. So you can create a sacred space where you can go inward and you can allow yourself to feel. Okay. So it's safe for me to feel emotion as I experience relationship with myself, others, and the universe. So this is where stuff gets triggered. Emotion is there as a useful tool to give me information. Now, energy doesn't lie. So I'm a psychologist and I practice energy psychology and healing work and energy work. So when we pay attention to the energy, to the emotions, and the energy of the emotions, the emotional signature of that, we get information. So we can start to follow that. Where am I feeling it in my body? So if you're feeling something now and you want to take a moment just to sense and feel, okay, yeah, I've had this trigger running. I'm feeling whether it's irritated, annoyed, sad, rejected, lonely, scared, whatever that may be. Just allow yourself 2 minutes to kind of connect with that, feel it. Where is it in my body? Your breath will keep you moving into each next now moment. So you don't need to stay stuck with anything. You can just use the breath as a gift and a tool to breathe through things. So as you feel, allow yourself to breathe through, to breathe in. Where is it in your body? What's it sitting? What's it holding? If this energy, you might see it as a color or a shape or a texture. You might see it as an image, or you might get a vision of you as a child, your inner child, or a particular point in your life. If you can give space to that and feel into that and just invite the energy to express itself, then you're going to get information. So what might it say? What might this hurt feeling say? If it could express itself, what might it do? And it might want to cry. It might want to wrap itself up in a ball. It might want to need some nurturing and need soothing strokes. This is incredibly calming and nurturing, just stroking from the upper arms, the backs of the shoulders down. And this calms the whole central nervous system down. So it's very nurturing, very loving, very self-loving. And sometimes we need that when we're processing some very deep, difficult emotions that we don't know what to do with, we might feel unsafe with. So how can we give ourselves that comfort, that caring, and that nurturing so we can clear through and purify what might be, painful and difficult feelings or emotions, our own personal triggers. As you get these messages, as you listen to the emotion, you listen to the expression of that, I'm hurt because I feel like nobody cares about me, for example. I'm hurt because no one understands me. So we've got information then. And what we're also identifying in the way in which these emotions get expressed are beliefs. And these beliefs are what gets re-triggered, and you'll find that you have the same beliefs running over and over in different aspects of your life, so particularly strong ones. I was living with misunderstood for years and years. The antidote to all of this is in your relationship with yourself. So how can you come, in my example, to understand yourself, to get that inner standing of what is your process? Who are you? How do you think? How do you feel? How do you see the world? When we fully understand ourselves, or when we are fully in acceptance of ourselves, if rejection is key, then we need to be working with the energy of acceptance. How can I fully accept all parts of me, including the parts of me that I reject? So if rejection is running as a theme in your life, what parts of you are you rejecting? And this is where taking personal responsibility is so liberating, because you don't have to wait for the world to change. You don't have to wait for the people around you or your loved ones to change, because the change is an inside job. So you can do that for yourself, with love, with compassion, with understanding, to be able to care for yourself and to be able to clear and purify some of these deep wounds and pains that keep us ultimately in separation and keep us in a space of limitation. So this is the gift. Find the trigger. Notice the trigger first. Find it. Listen to it. Pay attention to it. And if you can imagine the most beautiful, nurturing mother figure, I'm going to sneeze. Excuse me. Then how can you embody that kind of divine mother energy, earth mother energy, to bring love and compassion to these parts of ourselves that we've rejected or we've kept in the shadows, that we've pushed away? Bring it into self for love, compassion, caring, nurturing, and ask that part of you, what do you need? What do you need? And it may just be love. It may be tenderness. It may be space to be heard, to be felt, to be seen, to be witnessed. And we can give that to ourselves. And the more of this we do for ourselves, the more we are in a space to be able to do this for and with each other as well. So we open our hearts up to love ultimately, because love is the energy that heals. Love is the energy that moves us into a place of safety and moves us out of fear, moves us into nurturing. So I'm hearing the yes buts, because I get this with a large majority of my clients when they first start working. But I don't love myself. Some people don't even like themselves very much. And they don't know how to love themselves. So they don't know what that would look like or feel like. So rather than the stories of I can't, I don't know how, that's not true for me, let's take the resistance away to self-love and allow ourselves to hold space for that possibility, that potential, because all experience exists in this universe of infinite potential. And we, as creative beings, you as a creative being, have the ability to create your reality and to create the potential whereby you can come into self-love. You can put yourself in the center of your own universe. And this is not selfish. This is self-honoring. This is filling up your cup, because your role here is to be the biggest, brightest, most beautiful version of yourself, is to open, is to expand, is to be all that you are as your soul, living, breathing, moving through your physical vessel, embodying our light, embodying all this amazing creative potential. So each of us has it. We all have this. You have this. And it's just the thoughts, the programs, the ego, the beliefs, the stories, the hurts, the wounds, the traumas that we trap in our bodies that keep us stuck and keep us separated from who we are. So we're not our stories. We're not our pain body. We have a pain body for sure. We feel emotions. It's difficult at times being human. I totally get it. I have lived this. I breathe this. The only way I can speak to this from such an open heart and compassion is because I took myself through this journey. this is how I healed from incurable autoimmune disease lupus, is beginning that journey of self-love and self-mastery over my mind, over my emotions, and coming to be kind to myself and to love myself, and to shift and change all the limiting beliefs and all the victimhood consciousness after having 19 years of chronic serious illness, into I can, I'm okay, I'm safe, I'm loved, I'm lovable, I'm worthy of love, I'm worthy of receiving love, unconditional love, not the conditional love that most of us grow up with through no fault of our parents that were born into conditional love, through fear-based consciousness of you need to strive and work hard to get here, otherwise bad things happen. You'll be in poverty, you'll be in lack, you won't be able to look after yourselves. So all fear-based that creates those conditions upon love, success, very ego-driven. So bringing that back to self-love and self-nurturing and opening space. It's really, I get visions as I talk, really getting a sense to speak to heart opening and opening of making space for who we are, who you are. And this is our journey now. So the more we do this inner work of going inward, of not giving our power away to the external, and this is going to be big moving through March, April, this whole year. It's been big. It's going to be big. It's going to continue. And the light here currently is as bright as it has ever been. So we have an opportunity to tune into that slipstream, into this energy of creation, and into these healing potentials and possibilities, so that we can create heaven on Mother Earth and clear. So bringing our focus into the inner and nurturing the inner and accessing our creative potential and choosing the life that we want to live. So I think I'm going to call that a wrap, apart from this one card that I pulled before we started. I was like, okay, if there's a card that's going to help people to anchor into personal responsibility and move into this responsiveness rather than reactivity, release the resistance so that we can allow ourselves to be with what is in a space of unconditional love, non-judgment. We mustn't judge ourselves. That's where we keep ourselves separate. So if we want to become whole, we integrate lower aspects and higher aspects, and we alchemize it all with love, loving kindness. Then we can get a higher perspective on things, and we can come to, reality check. Is this true? Am I unworthy of love? If you exist, you are worthy of love. That's it. You're born of love from source that split into, aspects of souls. We're born of love, right? And our divine light spark that's within our heart space. Of course, you're worthy of love. These are just stories. They're just stories. They're beliefs through experiences that we don't want to minimize, we don't want to negate. But, bring that reality check in sometimes. And then there is the potential for belief work. So you can change your beliefs. This is where my book came in. I practice and I work with Psych K. I practice theta healing. I work with EFT, matrix reimprinting. I brought through this healing, self-help healing method that helps you to change your beliefs in your subconscious mind. And I'll talk to that another time. There are links to my website, and there's an online training program that you can learn for yourself in your own time and space to teach you the process, the change process that shifts a limiting belief into a positive, expansive one, such as I am and always have been worthy and deserving of unconditional love. So that is available and accessible. But ultimately, this is the card that came through. It's solar plexus chakra and our authentic power card. So here's Kuan Yin, goddess of compassion in action, riding her tamed dragon, the energy of the lion, the energy of the bear, courage, stability, strength, personal power. And I'm going to speak to power because this is a lot of what we're stepping into and a lot of what we're undoing right now. So my authentic power is achieved through self-esteem, love, truth, our inner truth, and authenticity, being truly who we are, being truly authentic. That might mean vulnerability, and that's okay. There's power and strength in our vulnerability. This is a different concept to these power over structures. It's okay for us to be powerful, but your power is your light, it's your love light, it's your truth, it's your heart energy. So the more you can come into that and clear the programs and the distortions that is not who you are, that's just part of the 3D matrix that we've been born into and our generations and ancestors have been born into. That's all collapsing, we're clearing and moving through that, creating a new reality template. So I forgive myself, the energy of forgiveness. I forgive myself and others. Sometimes we need to do that. And that is our liberation as well. So when something's happened to us, you know, we've had experiences, we've been subject to distorted energy playing out. The energy of forgiveness is sometimes very difficult. It's not about condoning someone else's behavior, but forgiveness enables a release. So, okay, I've had that experience. Me having the experience of chronic illness for 19 years, I would not change a thing. Honestly, it was difficult. It was painful. There were times when I wanted out. And, you know, hand on heart, I wouldn't change a thing because it's been the catalyst. It's been the, you know, my ability to transform all of that has helped me to really tune into who am I? If I'm not that, if I don't want that, what do I want? Who am I? So these experiences can be our liberation. It's just shifting the victimhood consciousness and seeing, okay, what did I learn from that? What did I learn in terms of contrast, in terms of who I'm not, and in terms of then learning who I am and what I want and how I want to be and show up in the world. So please don't underestimate the value of forgiveness. I forgive myself and others, release responsibility for others. We are responsible for self, personal responsibility. Otherwise, we're burdened and we are sacrificing ourselves. We're not here to sacrifice ourselves. This sacrificial energy, the selfish energy, all distorted. And take responsibility for my life. So it literally speaks to personal responsibility. It is safe for me to be powerful. So here's our antidote. I think and speak affirming, supportive words and imagine a life that I love. So back into that part one, what we focus on grows. So even if you can't get to a place of, I love myself, I am love, I am a being of pure love and light, and I will always choose the light, step into, I want to love and accept myself. Yeah. I open up the possibility to loving and accepting myself. And then we can move into beginning to create space for that and hopefully then embracing that. Can you imagine the world if everyone loved themselves and nudged themselves, not in an egoic way? Because love is not egoic. Love gives, love is kind, love is gentle, love is compassionate, love is patient, love is nurturing, caring. I co-create my reality. So what would life be like if we co-created our reality from that space of being in an authentic power of love light, not creating our reality from the patterns and the programs of hurts and wounds and distortion. So the only way we shift this is by not accepting that our story is who we are and our lives, but that we come to use the story as a point of transformation, transmutation, and purification, so that we can be all that we are and we can co-create our reality from a place of excitement, from love and joy. Okay. Any thoughts, comments, questions? Pop it in the chat have a look, and I will return, sending you love, sending empowerment and support. You can do this. You can do this. I did it. I support many others to do it. I've seen many lives transform. But part of the key of this is taking personal responsibility for your life, for your reality, for your emotional terrain, and tending to it with love.